What's going on, guys? Stevie here with Lucky Crit. In this video, I just wanted to talk about recent events and what happened with the whole leak video that I made a little while ago about the Nephenee and Black Knight Tempest trial leaks. If you haven't checked out that video already, you can do so right here. However, I will be making a correction to that video in this video and kind of apologizing a little bit, because I do feel that in that video I did inject a little bit too much of an opinion. Now, most of the content that we make for this channel is scripted content, so we'll write it out, make sure that we feel good about all of the arguments or any opinions or anything that we do have. But in that particular video, I did kind of rant a little bit, and it was a little bit repetitive. Most of my main arguments, after I had collected myself, were in the comment section, and I did really kind of feel that the developers would not go in this direction based upon, past events and things that they've done so far. It didn't really match their MO with how they've done stuff with Heroes. But clearly, since the leaks were actually true, they are switching things up a little bit. So if you were disappointed to find out that, you had been, potentially misled by that video, then I apologize for that. I do try to preface leak videos by saying that obviously nobody knows and take them with a grain of salt. But I do think in that video I did emphasize a little bit too much my opinion, and clearly it was wrong, so sorry about that, guys. But basically, if you're not caught up to speed, there was a random Discord user by the name of Favaro who just so happened to every once in a while contribute a little bit of information to the Discord chat as people were chatting, and he managed to correctly predict the mini Tempest trial as well as the Narshan and White Wings Twitter event. And so once that actually happened, another Discord user actually went back through the logs because they thought it sounded familiar, someone had already said that before, and they managed to find his comment that correctly predicted it, and then they began to go through and kind of retroactively look at all of his other comments that he had made, and basically it put together this whole little leak. This person clearly must have been somebody in the know, or potentially someone who worked with intelligence systems and was just messing around in this particular Discord server. And after that, he sort of mysteriously vanished into the ether. And that does tend to happen with a lot of leakers, whether or not they're real, because either they don't want the backlash, or if they are actually affiliated with, the company like intelligence systems, they don't want to get in trouble, they don't want to get fired. So they will tend to disappear afterwards. It was probably just kind of a fun side joke, or maybe they thought it was interesting to potentially hint at some of the future stuff in the Discord, but I think it went a little bit too far. But basically the predictions were that the Black Knight was going to be a Tempest trial reward later this month, and that essentially there would be a Crimean Path of Radiance banner including Nephenee, Oscar, and Elincia. And for next month, he did in fact predict that we would see a Fire Emblem 4 Genealogy of the Holy War banner alongside an Arvis, who is the villain of that game, Grand Hero Battle. And there was also the comment thrown in there about no La Rochelle, or La Raquel, however you like to pronounce that, for the next 2 months at least. So for me, these leaks didn't seem true for a number of reasons, which I'll go through now. Basically, I think that the Black Knight is one of the most deserving villains in the entire Fire Emblem franchise to have a Grand Hero Battle. I think it could have been a really epic Grand Hero Battle in order to get the character. But there are some counter arguments to that I will go through. On top of that, I did kind of feel that with the way that he and Nephenee were both revealed in the Quick Hero Battle, it was a little strange that it was only the two of them. So I kind of figured maybe these are just the only two new characters that they had put into the game, or were working on in that moment. So I kind of thought, okay, maybe Nephenee is the Tempest trial reward. That would make sense. Because in the past, when we've gotten some of these random sort of one-off characters like Tobin and Clive, that's what they ended up being, as the Tempest trial rewards. So in this case, a Path of Radiance Tempest trial could have Nephenee as the reward. I did acknowledge that it was possible that they just chose not to include some of the other heroes they had been working on in the Quick Hero Battle, and only wanted those two in there for people to find. So that does make sense. But I think overall it just seemed like such a big disservice to the Black Knight to kind of give him out for free like that and not have a really epic battle against him. I know as of this recent update, you do get to fight him in the battles, and who knows, maybe he'll be a character within the actual Tempest trial. We just had a Tempest trial where Hector was a bonus unit and also the boss of the Tempest trial, so that could actually be possible for that. But a lot of you actually made some really good, clever comments about why they might do this, and I think part of the reason could potentially be that they kind of made a mistake with the Grand Hero battles against Camus and Xander, because these units were just simply too powerful to be given out for free on a recurring basis, to the point where people could just kind of, 5-star them and keep stacking them and merging them together. So maybe moving forward, they're going to be changing up their strategy as far as this goes. With the Tempest trial rewards, they can kind of give them out at a much more spaced out pace instead of just the same couple Grand Hero battles every few months. So going this route, they'll actually be able to space out when we'll be able to get the Black Knight, and they can make the releases of the Black Knight and other powerful characters much, much further apart, so it's a little bit more balanced, I think. As far as Nephenee goes, a lot of you did point out that she did come with the Slaying Lance, and we knew about that, and that it would be a little bit too good for her to be a free Tempest Trial reward with that Slaying Lance, because it would be able to be inherited to another unit. But honestly, I don't think that disqualified her from being a Tempest Trial unit, because even though we got Masked Marth as the best Tempest Trial unit so far, before the Black Knight, and she did have the Falchion, which was uninheritable, and no skills aside from that, I think they could have given us a plain Nephenee with only the Slaying Lance, and then if people did in fact want to inherit it to someone else, I mean, then you only have one Slaying Lance to inherit, unless you 5-star the 4-star Nephenee. So I don't think that disqualified her, but that was a pretty good point that a lot of you had made. And I think the even better realization that some of you helped me come to is that Nephenee is just simply too much of a fan favorite character for them to give out for free like that. They stand to make a lot of money by having her in an actual banner, and a lot of people are going to spend a lot of orbs to summon for her. I know I probably will. So as with all leaks, I do try to preface the video by saying that obviously nobody truly knows what's going to happen, and take it with a grain of salt, but I think in that case, in that video, I did go a little bit too far, and because it was unscripted, it did end up being a little bit more ranty. So moving forward, if I do decide to continue to cover leaks on this channel, I will be more careful with how I phrase things. I think overall what I enjoy the most about doing these kind of videos is the discussion with you guys in the comment section. A lot of you will point out things that I hadn't considered or give me differing perspectives, and I also think it's super helpful to see people who are on the opposite side when it comes to their opinions on things. So thank you guys for that. This channel was never originally created to be solely a Fire Emblem news channel. In fact, if you actually look at some of our old videos, for those of you who are just joining us recently, we actually started off last year doing a lot of Pokemon Go stuff. That wasn't the first thing that came to the channel. We always knew that we wanted to cover some old school games, you know, especially from the Game Boy Advance era, because that, you know, to us was sort of the golden era that we grew up with. We didn't really grow up with the NES or SNES or consoles like those, so we were a little bit later to the game, and I think at this point, it's beginning to get to the point where Game Boy Advance games are, you know, 15 years old at this point, and those are becoming more and more retro as time moves forward, so I really wanted to cover that because I thought there were not nearly enough people on YouTube that were talking about some of these awesome, amazing old games. And we don't even get a lot of these games with today's consoles and today's platforms anymore. You know, ever since the sort of DS era, there were a lot of amazing games for DS, don't get me wrong, but ever since then it's seemed a little bit more shallow in terms of the amazing variety of the games that you could play. So we started off focusing on stuff like that, and obviously some group gameplay and stuff. And then when Pokemon Go came out and it was so huge and so exciting, we did enjoy making a lot of those kind of videos. I've been meaning to kind of go back and make some more videos for that series, not as like a weekly occurrence, but maybe every once in a while. However, the last like 4 or 5 times I've tried to do that, that didn't really work out. So somehow something always seems to go wrong with those videos lately, like the actual game footage will be glitchy or something like that. So it just hasn't really worked out. Moving forward, I will want to diversify content a little bit more. But as you can probably tell, this year has been all about Fire Emblem, and I know a lot of you have joined the audience and are following us due to our Fire Emblem coverage, and we're not going to stop Fire Emblem, so don't worry about that. But moving forward, I think at some point I will try to diversify things a little bit more than they are right now. But should we continue as a Fire Emblem news source, we'll definitely be a lot more careful when it comes to information and maybe injecting too much of an opinion in some of the videos. But regardless, I hope that you've really enjoyed the videos that we've made for this channel, and I hope you'll continue to enjoy them as well. So what do these Favaro leaks mean moving forward? Well, it seems very, very likely that next month, in October, we will see that Fire Emblem 4 Genealogy banner, and we will see the Arvis Grand Hero Battle, which is interesting, but honestly that to me sounded a little strange too, because it just seems like the most obvious kind of plain choice that Intelligent Systems could have went with moving forward, because they just gave us the Sacred Stones banner, you know, later this summer, and so they're kind of filling out that roster a little bit more, and now I guess they're jumping over to Fire Emblem 4 and starting to fill out that roster more. So it makes sense, but it just seemed a little too obvious for them to jump straight into that like that. I do think a lot of people will be really, really excited to have an Arvis Grand Hero Battle, so we can look forward to that. That's going to be really cool. And I do think it's pretty obvious that we will see some kind of Halloween seasonal event characters, so you may want to save your orbs for that, although this new banner with Nephenee and Elincia is pretty enticing, and even Oscar's not bad too. So in order to not mislead anybody else with that old video, I have actually updated the thumbnail and the title and pinned a new comment in the top of the comment section. So anyway, that's going to wrap up this video, guys. Thank you so much for watching. If you did enjoy it, do me a solid and slash the thumbs up down below. Also, leave me a comment in the comment section and let me know how you feel about these now sort of remotely confirmed Favaro leaks when it comes to next month with the Fire Emblem 4 stuff. I know a lot of people are excited for some of these older Fire Emblem games to get more representation, so I'd love to hear what you guys think about that. If you also like to use Discord, we have a brand new Discord server that I launched recently. It's slowly but surely beginning to have more active users on it, so thank you guys for heading over there and joining in on the discussion. And if you'd like to chat more, definitely head over there. We'll be checking it often. As always, a big shout out to our Patreon supporters. Thank you guys so much for helping this channel to continue and continue to grow as well. If you really do enjoy seeing our content every week, please consider supporting us through Patreon. You'll get access to some special features and also some other cool rewards too. You can also follow us on Twitter for any news and updates that get revealed on the fly, and I'll see you all next time.